After nearly 8 years of drug addiction, Michael De Leon spent 12 years in prison and halfway houses for a gang-related homicide. Since his time in prison, he's dedicated his life to making the world a better place. He is the founder of Steered Straight, which guides young people away from the dangers of drugs and criminal activity. As a motivational speaker, he has spent thousands of hours talking to millions of young adults, and he has worked tirelessly to help people suffering find the road to recovery.
When my son came to me and told me he was an addict, I was terrified. Watching someone go through addiction is absolutely horrifying. The Recovery Centers of America are not just there for your loved one, but there for you. When you walk through the doors of Recovery Centers of America, you're greeted not just by a receptionist, but with a smile, with a helping hand. Having Recovery Centers of America pretty much right down the street, I was able to go twice a week. They provide a family group for the families. That first day I walked in to today has brought me so much hope and so much peace to look back and see the new family walk in. Then I'm able to be there to say, you're not alone.
If someone you know is suffering from heroin, opioid, or alcohol addiction, call 1-800-RECOVERY and recover more than you can imagine.
Since 1895, you've trusted Lennox to provide you with the most advanced furnaces and air conditioners built to last. Our Lennox Premier dealers are trained to deliver a level of comfort and service no one else can match. Because at Lennox, we know why you really put your trust in us. When looking for a company you can trust with your family's home comfort, call Ambient Comfort. Trust is what Ambient Comfort has built our reputation on. Get up to $1,600 in rebates or special financing.
Go team! Team Nissan is back. The trailers are gone, and there's so much to cheer about.
Go team!
Go team! It's Team Nissan's grand reopening with the best deals ever on new Nissans and certified pre-owned vehicles. Plus amazing prices on Team Nissan service. All in the comfort of our magnificent new dealership.
Go team!
Shop online at teamnissan.com or visit Team Nissan on Delsea Drive in Vineland.
Go team!
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Welcome to the Road to Recovery. I'm Michael De Leon, your host, and I'm so grateful this week to have someone in to talk about an area of this addiction, this treatment industry, this whole social issue that's so important and not talked about enough. Dr. Indra Sadambi, Center for Network Therapy.
Thank you very much.
Doctor, thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to talk about what you do and how you help people with ambulatory detox. And you, Center for Network Therapy in Middlesex, New Jersey, was the first ambulatory detox in the whole state.
That's right, Michael.
For all substances.
Correct. I really pioneered this model because I worked in an inpatient detox rehab as a director in the past. And that made me realize what is the reason why we have the revolving doors. So people kept coming and going back and forth into treatment simply because they are not practicing what they learn on a daily basis. So that pushed me to work with this outpatient model. This is absolutely outpatient ambulatory detox.
And you really pioneered this here in New Jersey with Center for Network Therapy. You had experience in the inpatient detox and treatment field.
Absolutely.
And so you got frustrated with what you saw.
Exactly. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be losing people's lives for this addiction. That's my theory. And I started thinking, what would work? The outpatient model. You might think how crazy it is to send somebody who was using to start with to the same environment at the end of the day, hoping that they're going to come back for treatment the next day. But simply, precisely why this works. This model works because they learn coping skills on a daily basis and they go home to practice what they learned.
So the very thing that you would play devil's advocate about, the very thing that you think would make it not work is what makes it work.
Absolutely. You know, addiction is a disease. There are so many people who are starting to blame it on behavior, the bad choices. Life is full of choices that we make. You know, what we eat, even when we drive, the bad choices that we make will delay where we want to get on a daily basis. So when you look at that, addiction is also like, people like argue and say it's the bad choice that the person made.
Right.
But it's a chronic disease. It's a brain disease, and we need to treat it like a chronic illness. And there should be no deviation from that.
Right. So initially what we need to do is we need to look at addiction and educate people about what it is, families, people who are suffering. So it's a chronic disease. That's at the core of this. So then how do we treat it?
So that is why I said this outpatient model. What is that so special about outpatient model? Inpatient and outpatient, the same medication, same therapy, same medical assistance. But the missing component in an inpatient model is that you do not integrate the home environment into treatment. So somebody who's addicted cannot be sent away hoping that they're going to learn all the coping skills and come back to integrate into their family.
Right.
That's not going to work. I always laugh about this and I say, Dog Whisperer talks about training dogs. It's not just the dogs. The owner of the dog needs training too. So the same formula applies to addiction. We need to train both the family members and the person who's addicted to embrace this illness and adjust their lifestyle to the needs of that person who's suffering from this disease. Yes, it's time consuming. Yes, it's tiring. Yes, it's anger. Yes, family is going to feel, why am I dealing with this? That's
it's
why
not my problem,
right,
it's their
but
problem.
This is family. One way or the other, the family is going to be hurt. They cannot just get rid of this problem unless they learn to embrace this.
And we're not blaming the family, but there are aspects of the origin, the fault, the
addict
reasoning behind this that's involved in the family. But the family is also in the solution.
Absolutely. And once we teach them, the fear of unknown, the fear that I hear from family members is the root cause of this. They tell me day in and day out, I struggle with this addiction because I don't know when I'm going to face my loved one in a deathbed. So I just don't want to be part of this. That fear is what we need to work with.
Wow. So not only fear of the person who's suffering, but fear of the family, of what they're going to find, what they're going to have to face. And that gets in the way of solving this issue.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back with Dr. Sidambi, Center for Network Therapy, right after this.
Seabrook House has been helping families find the courage to recover from alcoholism, drug addiction, and other compulsive mental disorders for over 42 years. Our programs include the Family Matrix program that allows families to heal and begin to strengthen the family bonds strained by addiction, inpatient rehabilitation, extended care, and outpatient treatments. If you or a loved one is suffering from addiction, please call or visit us online today. Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
At Comfort Now, November is Vets Month. During the month of November, as we've done in the past, we're offering a free service call. If you're having a problem with your heater, funny noise, doesn't work, give us a call. We'll stop by, take a look, tell you what you need to repair it, no charge. We waive our normal $79 fee. We figure vets and families of those that have served have given enough. It's our way of giving back because you deserve Comfort Now.
Comfort Now by Bob McAllister, 609-400-1005.
When my son came to me and told me he was an addict, I was terrified. Watching someone go through addiction is absolutely horrifying. The Recovery Centers of America are not just there for your loved one, but there for you. When you walk through the doors of Recovery Centers of America, you're greeted not just by a receptionist, but with a smile, with a helping hand. Having Recovery Centers of America pretty much right down the street, I was able to go twice a week. They provide a family group for the families. That first day I walked in to today has brought me so much hope and so much peace to look back and see the new family walk in. Then I'm able to be there to say, you're not alone.
If someone you know is suffering from heroin, opioid, or alcohol addiction, call 1-800-RECOVERY and recover more than you can imagine.
Since 1895, you've trusted Lennox to provide you with the most advanced furnaces and air conditioners built to last. Our Lennox Premier dealers are trained to deliver a level of comfort and service no one else can match. Because at Lennox, we know why you really put your trust in us.
When looking for a company you can trust with your family's home comfort, call Ambient Comfort. Trust is what Ambient Comfort has built our reputation on.
Get up to $1,600 in rebates or special financing.
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Back on the road to recovery, we're talking about ambulatory detox, but people would be most familiar by calling it outpatient detox. So inpatient versus outpatient in a detox. You saw frustrations and problems with the model and how we were treating it through detox. And so you basically pioneered this in New Jersey. So Center for Network Therapy, once you pioneered this, had this whole concept and idea, you opened up.
Exactly. 4.5 years ago was
so,
the first.
4.5 years.
Yes.
We have a track record here.
Absolutely. And our success rate is close to 65%. What I mean by that is that if someone who completes the program successfully,
right,
they remain sober 90 days and above, all substance free.
That's a huge success rate.
It is.
I mean, nationwide, what do you think the success rate is for inpatient detox?
I was told, not that I have any firsthand, clarification about this. I was educated that it was vacillating between 25 to 30%, and here we are 65%.
More than double
Absolutely.
The success rate nationally with inpatient detox you've been able to experience in 4.5 years here in New Jersey with outpatient detox.
Absolutely. And my family members who work with me, they keep telling me, keep doing what you're doing, this works. That's simply because the family has learned how to talk to these people who are suffering from addiction.
And that's helped with their fear.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think, a lot of families watch this and family members watch this. Do you think that's the biggest, roadblock in families' understanding and getting through this, their fear?
The fear of finding their loved ones dead. That's a biggest fear. And the stigma. So, it runs side by side. Stigma of coming out and saying, yes, my loved one suffers from addiction.
Just saying that, just coming out and saying that.
Yeah, because they somehow or other, the first word that the family sits down as a family meeting, they tell me this: we are good families. We didn't raise this. We have no fault.
Oh.
So I look at them and I say, really, you think you're blaming it on yourself for everything that's happening? And I tell them, I'm an addiction psychiatrist. My children can suffer from this too. I'm not an exception. So am I a bad mother? Absolutely not. It's an illness. It is an illness, and we need to look at this as an illness like any other chronic illnesses, and then work with them and teach the parents what to expect and how to deal with this.
So in its unique nature, it's like other illnesses, but it's unlike other illnesses because obviously the family wouldn't have had a role to play in the development of diabetes or the development of cancer or the development of something else. But there is this element of family involvement in the addiction.
I look at it differently, Michael. Why is addiction, even though it's a chronic illness, so different? Why are we looking at this? Absolutely, is it a behavior? Is it a disease?
Okay.
All these questions never was asked by anybody when you talk about diabetes.
Okay.
But the reality is this: addiction, the field of addiction medicine is a baby field. Initially, addiction was addressed by people like, the AA, the 12-step program. So they treated it like a behavior. So then came along we doctors, medical field, and we jumped on this thing and said, no, it's a chronic illness. So there is a mixed message for them. People who started as a behavior, now we need to tell them, oh, no, this is a chronic illness like any other chronic illnesses. So that's why you have this mixed messages. And, some people believed it's just the behavior. Some people say it's a chronic illness. Some of them think it's a family to be blamed. It's so painful. I think a blind leading the other blind is the problem right now.
Wow, that's a good point. Blind leading the blind. So everyone needs to get educated.
Absolutely.
So part of what you're doing is not just detoxing, chemically. You're actually treating? I mean, your clients that come in, they're spending all day there.
Right, from 9 a.m. they come in and 5 p.m. They go back to their home environment. And, yes, there is a good risk for people to go back and use. But then the tolerance level did not go down. So in one day. So they're able to come back and they get drug tested and they are in therapy, and then they get to talk about their relapse. And we educate them not to hide their relapses and make them openly admit to what led to their relapse. Sometimes it can be the family chaos, and then we bring in the family member and try to work with them on a timely basis.
So you're not going into a place for 3-5 days detox and come out and relapse. If you relapse on day 1, day 2, day 3, you're processing the relapse and what led to it in that day.
That's right.
So the thing that you thought wouldn't work is actually what's helping it work.
Right, and that's one of the reasons why you see people coming off of inpatient treatment. Before even they go to the intensive outpatient treatment, they relapse and their tolerance have gone down substantially. So before going into treatment, if somebody was using 10 bags of heroin and they come back from treatment and they say to themselves, well, I have these cravings and I can't stop, probably I'll just do 1 or 2 bags, and that is an overdose simply because the tolerance went down.
Right. And the poisons that are lacing heroin throughout our state. We'll be back with Dr. Sidambi right after this.
Go team! Team Nissan is back. The trailers are gone, and there's so much to cheer about.
Go team!
Go team! It's Team Nissan's grand reopening with the best deals ever on new Nissans and certified pre-owned vehicles. Plus amazing prices on Team Nissan service. All in the comfort of our magnificent new dealership.
Go team!
Shop online at teamnissan.com or visit Team Nissan on Delsea Drive in Vineland.
Go team!
Seabrook House has been helping families find the courage to recover from alcoholism, drug addiction, and other compulsive mental disorders for over 42 years. Our programs include the Family Matrix program that allows families to heal and begin to strengthen the family bonds strained by addiction, inpatient rehabilitation, extended care, and outpatient treatments. If you or a loved one is suffering from addiction, please call or visit us online today. Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
I'd love to tell you one insurance company can do it all, but unfortunately they can't. As an independent agency, we represent over 40 insurance companies. So you can save time and money by letting us find a policy that works for you. I'm Tom Heist, and you'll like the way we do business.
Thomas Heist Insurance Agency.
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Back on the road to recovery with Dr. Sidambi, outpatient detox, ambulatory detox. But you're an addiction psychiatrist.
That's right.
So, I mean, you understand addiction, not just your model, but you understand addiction. And right now in America, across our country, there's a lot of mixed messages going on, right?
Absolutely. That is inevitable. It's going to be what it is going to be. Some mixed messages, what are we talking about? It's normalizing. It's the pendulum. I see that the pendulum has been like in both ends now. Stigma, let's make the stigma go away by embracing everything as norm. Let's make it norm. That's the trend right now.
Making drug use normal?
Everything normal. Like, let's legalize marijuana.
Oh, right.
Right? Legalization of marijuana, we made it okay. And now people are talking about, hey, underage kids, let's teach them how to drink. So the parents should take them to a restaurant and get them started with drinking so there won't become alcohol abuse. So that is the trend today. But it's going to be what it's going to be. But we need to understand total abstinence is the only road to success. And marijuana is a drug, and we cannot promote that, no matter what.
It's mind and mood altering.
Absolutely.
And especially alcohol in the adolescent brain. What does that do?
It's not about teaching kids how to drink, That's not the solution. The solution is to tell them there is going to be drugs all around you. There are going to be, alcohol all over. But you need to be able to say, I don't want to do this because That is the important thing. One has to come to terms about, I don't want this. I prefer doing something else over this. It's as good as diet. Nobody is going to, just because I want to lose weight, the world around me is not going to stop eating what they want to eat. So when I have an incentive about what I want to achieve, then I'm going to stay maybe 90% of the time on track. Even that's a big success.
4.5 years, Center for Network Therapy has been open. What an amazing track record. And you haven't lost anyone. And really, we were the first, and you're almost the only outpatient detox dealing with benzodiazepines, which is
Absolutely.
a very, very, we're talking about an opiate epidemic in America, a heroin epidemic in America, but benzodiazepines is a huge problem.
You said it right, Michael. People are not looking at this. Nobody wants to talk about benzodiazepines. It's a huge problem. It's running parallelly.
Is it one of the most dangerous drugs to be detoxed from?
Absolutely. The seizure and some people getting into stroke with alcohol on board, benzodiazepine and opiates. That's a deadly combination.
Benzodiazepines, opiates, alcohol, and how often is it all mixed together?
Quite often. One in two, half of our population is either drinking with opiates and they're taking benzodiazepines, so their high is better. It kind of makes you feel better with these opiate pills and with heroin, so they are using those.
So it's more deadlier than
deadlier. And I blame it on the prescribers more and more. 65% of these opiate pain pills have been prescribed by the family practitioners and the APNs, the nurse practitioners, and not the specialist. How sad is that?
Were they misled by the pharmaceutical industry that the drugs would be safe? Or
we can be blaming. It's a blame game again. I can keep blaming this is the big pharma and whoever it is. But why did I go to medical school? I'm the guru in this, right? Supposedly, yes. I come out with a big degree in my, behind my name, like I'm an MD. So I should be the one who should be teaching others.
Right.
I should be looking at why I'm starting somebody on this medication, and what is the plan to take them off of this medication, instead of just saying, oh, it's the pharmaceutical company, it's the thing. I'm not saying that they are not at fault. Again, we can keep blaming others, and as a physician, we should be responsible for every prescription that we write up.
That's a very good point. And then also in treatment, what is the plan to take them off? I'm afraid medication-assisted treatment has just become such a norm that we're going to leave someone on medication the rest of their life. So,
Michael, that's a great topic to touch upon. Medication-assisted treatment, we should embrace this. Do we ever ask a diabetic patient, how long are you going to be on insulin? Why are we treating addiction any different? Why is it such a big deal for them to be in a medication-assisted treatment? It's not a medication maintenance treatment for the rest of their lives. Let's tease it out. Medication-assisted treatment, what does that mean? Medication with therapy. If someone is just getting medication, it's not going to work. They have to be engaged in therapy, and then they need to do lifestyle changes, and then they should have 12-step program as a support network. Right. All these 4 components are important.
Because you're talking about medication assisting the treatment. The treatment's not in the medication.
Absolutely not.
It's assisting the medication, and we definitely need to talk more about that. And we'll be back with Dr. Sidambi right after this.
When my son came to me and told me he was an addict, I was terrified. Watching someone go through addiction is absolutely horrifying. The Recovery Centers of America are not just there for your loved one, but there for you. When you walk through the doors of Recovery Centers of America, you're greeted not just by a receptionist, but with a smile, with a helping hand. Having Recovery Centers of America pretty much right down the street, I was able to go twice a week. They provide a family group for the families. That first day I walked in to today has brought me so much hope and so much peace to look back and see the new family walk in, that I'm able to be there to say, you're not alone.
If someone you know is suffering from heroin, opioid, or alcohol addiction, call 1-800-RECOVERY and recover more than you can imagine.
Go team! Team Nissan is back. The trailers are gone, and there's so much to cheer about.
Go team!
Go team! It's Team Nissan's grand reopening with the best deals ever on new Nissans and certified pre-owned vehicles. Plus, amazing prices on Team Nissan service. All in the comfort of our magnificent new dealership.
Go team!
Shop online at teamnissan.com or visit Team Nissan on Delsea Drive in Vineland.
Go team!
This Road to Recovery show is brought to you by Seabrook House, helping families find the courage to recover.
Back on the road to recovery with Dr. Sidambi, Center for Network Therapy, an outpatient ambulatory detox in Middlesex, New Jersey. You're opening in West Orange,
Correct.
New Jersey also. And as we touched on, maybe finishing up that thought with medication-assisted treatment, as long as the medication is involved in the treatment, and then there's the other things involved, it's critically important.
It is.
As a holistic approach, an all-around approach, right?
Correct, because if somebody is going to be suffering from cravings, they need something to address the craving while they can work on the therapy part of it. Really work with the therapist and get those coping skills.
And you
That's
do
what
that.
it is. We do
Center
that.
for Network Therapy. You've
We
been
do
doing
that.
it for 4.5 years with huge success.
Huge success.
More
really.
than double the success rate that you see in inpatient detox all around the country.
Absolutely.
So if I think the president's looking for a drug czar right now, and if he was to make you drug czar of the country, what other things do you want to see happen right now? What else do we need to do?
I would say decriminalize the charges for those drugs, not the drugs. What I mean by that is that someone who's addicted, while they're actively using, they incur charges. They have possession charges. 3 out of 4 possession charges for these drug violations are for possession, not for a manufacture or for sale. So these people who are suffering from this illness, they incur charges, and when they complete treatment, they have felonies. So they cannot go back into workforce. So that becomes a trigger for them to eventually go back to using. So in my opinion, if I get that kind of a power to address this issue, this epidemic, I would say decriminalize the drug charges. That way, people can go back to workforce in a meaningful way and move on with their lives. That means I'm not saying if somebody is using not to give them any legal repercussion. You can give it to them, but then if they can work with treatment and show a substantial amount of sobriety and completion of treatment, then a chance to wipe those charges away in good standing, so they can continue to work.
And there are some of those vehicles available, but they're very limited, and you have to be 10 years out in many
Yes,
cases.
10 years of not working is not going to get the person back on track. I'm talking about 1.5 or 2. While engaging in treatment, they should be allowed to go back. Like impaired nurses, that's insanity, to keep them out of workforce. In my opinion, they should be, while they are monitored in treatment, they should be given an opportunity to work and see whether they can go back to work.
And not doing so is hindering not only them, but hindering us as a society. And our families.
Right. Trillions of dollars have been lost in this addiction treatment. So, we as an outpatient detox in Middlesex right now, we are able to accept patients on a daily basis. We are open 7 days a week, and it's from 9 to 5. What we do is we take any private insurances. We don't have the facility yet to accept any Medicare or Medicaid patient, not because we don't want to. We don't have this billing code for that. So that's an interesting thing. So we have been waiting for Medicare and Medicaid to give us more okay to accept those patients also.
Another thing you would do as drug czar is make that happen. We need to make that change.
Exactly. Everybody should be treated, with respect here.
Absolutely.
Medicare, Medicaid, that means you are not accepted. It kills me to tell them that, we don't have, and then the patients say, because we are Medicaid, you don't accept us. No, I wanted to. And it's easy. You would laugh at it. It's very easy for me to go meet with the President of the United States than getting an answer from these organizations today.
Well, we need to make that change. Thank you so much, Dr. Sidambi, for joining us today. Center for Network Therapy. The information's on the screen. Look at Ambulatory Detox. Look at this facility for your loved ones. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week on The Road to Recovery.